What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Baker's DIY Lifestyle. So today I'm just going to throw up a quick video going over kind of how the yard is playing out here before we go into winter, and most likely what is going to be the last mow of the year. So this Kentucky bluegrass back here is getting really thick, and I'm super excited about it. Hopefully you can see how tall this is. It's probably every bit of 4 inches tall in this little section right here, so it's getting really thick. And I definitely need to chop it down before we get into winter time. So a lot of it is blown over because we just had some guys come out and move these leaves out of the way for us, because quite honestly with the baby here, I just didn't have enough time to do it. I'm probably gonna have to do it at least one more time, because this tree right here above us and a couple of the trees in the back, they're still dropping some leaves. But my goodness, I mean, I did not realize how thick this bluegrass was in the back. Where it was actually growing really good. So it's still pretty matted down. The ground is super soft because this is in the shade so much now. I believe that might end up giving us some trouble in the future, but I'll kind of see how that plays out. I was originally planning on bagging this, but I think what I'm going to do is just put the mower on the highest setting, go over it, see what I cut, try to suck some of the grass up, stand it up a little bit straighter, because those blowers really have it matted down right here. But the top section up here that I had to reseed, it still didn't come up very good because I didn't get enough heat to really get the seed to come up. And really the big reason I didn't put any kind of covering over the seed is because with it tilled up, the ground is so soft most of the time, it ends up looking like that. But of course I had problems right here just because it was so sunny. It's the top of the hill, so the water doesn't really settle right here and keep the seed wet all the time. I do have a little bit of green coming up right here. Maybe you can see it. It's not very much, it's very faint. Little pieces of grass coming up, but I'm pretty positive a lot of that's gonna die through the winter just because the roots didn't get deep enough to actually keep it alive. But overall, I mean, if this is the only section that I have to work on come springtime, I'm not gonna be real upset with that. And honestly, just looking at the overall growth of the yard back here, I'm really excited to see how this Kentucky bluegrass is gonna turn out next year. The only thing I did notice walking around is I've got a ton of clover and a ton of creeping Charlie popping up. Even though I sprayed the yard twice, that stuff came back. I guess it's just so resilient, and it was maybe down deep in the dirt. Whenever we tilled it up, we brought the roots back to the top and they grew back. But that's just something I'm gonna have to deal with next year. It's not a huge deal, but it is just a little bit upsetting. So the next really nice section right here is actually fescue between me and the neighbor. So this area stays pretty shady, and it stayed nice and wet when the seed was on the ground, and it came up super quick, and it is really dark green right here. So you can see it again. It looks really good right here. So I'm excited for this section. And also coming around the front, this is the area that I had to reseed, and we've got a lot coming up in the center now. But again, I don't know if the roots are gonna get deep enough before we hit really cold temperatures where the grass isn't gonna die in the winter. But the overall coverage of the yard looks really good. I'm super happy with it. Without throwing any kind of cover down over the seed to keep it in place. It sounds like somebody else is starting to mow right now, so if that is loud, I apologize. But the rest of the yard looks really thick, and I think in the springtime, whenever it starts greening up, we're gonna look really good. So in the spring, once we get through winter and I kind of look at everything, I'll judge whether or not I want to put down a pre-emergent, or if I want to go ahead and overseed the bare spots. And it might be one of those things where we pre-emergent some of the really good sections and leave other sections bare and just throw seed, but we'll talk about that when we get to the springtime. But for right now, I'm gonna change the blade on that little push mower, make sure I have a really sharp blade, because when I go over the grass for the last time of the year, I don't want to stress it out too much and have it trying to repair itself while I really needed to be driving roots down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that mower blade swapped out, get the mower pulled out, go ahead and push mow maybe everything just to hit it and see what gets cut down, just kind of level it out one more time before the winter. And video. Most likely this will be the last lawn care video I do of the year, unless I get on here and post another update as we get into winter time. But this section right here is definitely the best looking section in the whole yard. Luckily it's the front section here that everybody sees when they drive by, so I'm really happy with it. The center section did come up pretty good. This section right here though, it was well over 4 inches whenever I cut it down. So it definitely needed to be chopped down just a little bit before winter, just to make sure we don't have any trouble with any snow that we might get really laying over the grass and giving us issues in the spring. So for the backyard, I don't know that I really cut a whole lot on the backyard, but I'm glad that I went over it just because of how matted down it was from the guys blowing the leaves off this morning. So the grass was super laid down right here, pretty much laid completely flat. So just taking the mower over it, sucking up as much as I could and getting the ground dried back out. That was my main goal back here, and I'm really happy I went over it. But for the sections that are really thick, it looks really good. Like this section right here in the front, right by the road, it looks awesome and it's super thick. I don't have any concerns with it filling itself the rest of the way in the spring. The top section up there, I'm definitely gonna have to overseed that. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this little series of renovating my new yard and getting it ready before the end of the year. Hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button and come back next year to see what we do to this yard, because we're definitely gonna be doing some completely different things with the Kentucky bluegrass in the back and the fescue in the front. Back here I'm going to be mowing about 2.5 inches. In the front we're going to be mowing closer to 4. But everything in between we'll be doing some leveling projects. Of course, killing the weeds, getting the grass growing and making it look really, really nice next year. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to hit that like button and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.